One thing I really hate is when companies, especially the tech companies, treat the US as the only market that matters. But I have to admit that 9 times out of 10, that's what ends up happening. Okay, so there's this YouTuber that I follow called Gary Sims. He does a really great segment over at Android Authority where he compares one processor against the other and explains how they work. It's literally called Gary Explains. I don't know, everything sounds a lot better when you have a British accent. Okay, I digress. He did a recent segment where he compared the Snapdragon version of the Samsung Galaxy S10 versus the Exynos version. I'm sure a lot of you know this already. I've talked about this in this channel where Samsung releases 2 versions of their Samsung Galaxy S10. The Exynos version, which is their own processor, and the Qualcomm Snapdragon version. Tech companies suffer from a naming disease which causes them to name their products in ways that no one can understand. In India, we only get the Exynos version of the phone, and I am okay with this because the Exynos version is usually faster, and because it's Samsung's own processor, it tends to be better in India in terms of price. Aha! There's actually one product which is cheaper here than in the US. Fancy that. In the video, Gary does a Bumble style speed test comparison between the 2 versions of the phone. If you don't know what a Bumble style speed test is, it compares the CPUs and the GPUs of the phone in real world tasks. See, benchmarks and AnTuTu and Geekbench are all fine, 1 point higher, 1 point lower, but actually what customers want to know is how the phone feels and works in the hand. Is it fast? At the end of the video, the Snapdragon version finishes a full 14 seconds faster than the Exynos version. I got pissed and I stopped watching. The takeaway that I had from this was not that the Exynos version was slower than the Snapdragon version, it's that Samsung's software team optimized their One UI, their own version of Android, to run better on Qualcomm's processor rather than their own Exynos processor. Even last year, when they rolled out One UI, they rolled it out first for the Qualcomm version of their phone rather than Exynos. Why? Because the Qualcomm version is sold in the US. That's where all the big tech bloggers are, that's where the bigger market is, that's where the customers that matter are, right, Samsung? Look, guys, I know you're a big corporation, you have to follow the money, you have to make profits for your investors. I know that the M series is your main big focus in India because it's going to be a $4 billion market for you. Great, but don't you think the better solution would be to make one version of your phone with the Exynos processor, make that processor as fast as possible, and give that processor good, optimized, universal software that gets frequently updated? Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. I hope that someone somewhere at Samsung sees this. See, it's not that customers in India are unaware of what you're doing. It's the fact that we're not as vocal in our criticism. Well, we're vocal now. Subscribe to this channel and let's spread the word.